I'm Megan Hamilton, and this is the Embracing Enchantment podcast. I came to learn about the work of today's guest on a long ride in my brother's truck on the way to my dad's farm for our annual birthday trip. My brother put on a CD and said, "You're gonna flip." A year or so later, I had a mesmerizing experience at my first time watching his band play in Nashville. My guest has toured the world, doing what he's loved for over 20 years. He's a 3-time Grammy Award nominee. He's been a cartoon character. He's a foodie and a dad. And he gave me my very first quote that I could use for Music Press. And I promptly spelled his name wrong. Please welcome the drummer from my very favorite band, Patrick Hallahan of My Morning Jacket. Patrick, I am so happy to talk to you today.
I'm so happy to talk to you too. Thanks for having me. Make sure you misspell my name in the ad mat for this. Yeah, we have to do it on purpose to stay with consistency.
My kid wanted to Google you, and she ended up spelling your name the same wrong way that I spelled your name.
With an I? Is that how it was? Yeah. Well, that's what it sounds like. That's a logical mistake.
When you're a kid, absolutely. When you're doing like press quotes, it's probably a good idea to get a person's name right. Anyways, okay, I'm so pumped, and I really had to check myself when I was coming up with the questions for today because I have so many possible questions and avenues to dive into, but I keep reeling myself in to stick to your transformative new album called Is and the ways that music is magic. So one thing I wanted to say is I don't think it was today, but it was either yesterday or tomorrow that I was at Bonnaroo when you all were at Bonnaroo, and I was on that road trip with my best friend. Do you remember the story?
Of course. I remember you all. We hung out in Huntsville.
Everywhere.
Birmingham, Alabama.
That was the first one.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that trip.
Yeah.
What was your friend's name?
Jennifer Fawcett.
Yes, there you go. Boom.
Best-selling author Jennifer Fawcett. Her next book is coming out. So Jen and I were going to America because she had just been accepted into Iowa's university for writing. And we were going to come across, and we decided to do a road trip because we wanted to hang out together. And we picked the dates, we picked the city, and like literally 2 days later, you all announced a tour leading up to Bonnaroo, and you were hitting the same cities on the same dates, like almost universally. And I was like, what? It was bonkers. And then
synergy is the coolest thing ever. I swear. It's like one of those things where you have to be a good listener while I'm interrupting you and like pay attention to what like the universe gives you. You know, it makes me so happy. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
No, please. We're here to listen to you. Also, on that trip, every time I found a penny, I made a wish. I don't know if you know this either. Every time I found a penny, I made a wish, and every single one of my wishes came true. And they were wild wishes. Like it was unreal. It was the most.
What did you wish for? If you don't mind me asking.
Like weird stuff, I can't even remember right now. Like there's some big stuff happening at home that I wished for that was like working out, and just like, you know, like I hope it doesn't rain at Bonnaroo, and then just like bigger sort of like personal things. But it was, I think I wished that I would get to play with you once as well. And then that came true several months later as well. Like it was just like one of those weird, it was like, yes, synchronicity, breadcrumbs, as my friend Amy calls them, just like those little clues where you're like, okay, just like pay attention and just go forward. Like try not to overthink it, just like do. Which kind of ties back into Is because, okay, before I get to that, let me pull out my tarot deck, my trusty deck.
Great.
Have you ever had a tarot reading before?
I have, yeah.
Oh, you have?
Totally. Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. So as I'm shuffling the cards, I'm just going to pull one to like set the tone and, you know, think about themes. You've been in the band since 2002?
Yes.
Okay. But I think you were friends with folks beforehand, right?
Yes, I've been friends with Jim since the summer between 3rd and 4th grade. We were in our first bands together. And then I was friends with, like, we all recorded, all of our friend group kind of recorded at the above the Cadillac Studios on the farm that Tennessee Fire, At Dawn, and It Still Moves were recorded at.
I love how you had to search for that. You're like, what was the name of that record again?
Well, I mean, there's just, yeah.
There's so many.
At this point, I mean, there's, multiple decades. You're pulling from a memory bank now. But yeah, I was in and around the whole time, and apparently was supposed to be the first. I was told this later, that they were going to ask me to be the drummer initially, but I had joined the band that I joined a band with the guys that Jim left to form My Morning Jacket, and he didn't want to step on their toes.
Oh,
so they had to go. They had. So I'm drummer number 3. But I toured at Dawn.
You're drummer number 1 for me.
Oh, come on now.
Okay.
I pay her to say that.
So okay. It's true. And I can't actually accept American checks, so we'll have to talk about that after. So the group of people who currently make My Morning Jacket have been together since 2005.
2004.
2004.
Yep.
Okay. What does it take to keep a band together? And we're talking major tours for over 20 years.
That's a really good question, and something that we've had to kind of find out along the way, It's just like a marriage. It's just like a long-term, it's a polyamorous marriage. It's, it's like a long friendship. You are different people than, when you're together for that long, you're different people than when you started out, and you've grown together, and sometimes you grow apart. I think what has kept us together is gratitude, just really thankful for each other and the unique energy we feel when the 5 of us get in a room together or on a stage, it's something that we go and play with other people a lot and keep coming back because it feels right and feels really special. And I just a deep love for each other. I mean, more than anything, it's just love and context, I think, are the main components of longevity for anything. It's just being, empathy, being able to, if somebody's losing their temper or in a bad mood or something like that, it's not, you can't just write them off. You have to understand, like, what they've gone through that day or where they're coming from. And obviously you have to protect yourself and you don't put up with, like, an abusive situation, but how we've managed to go on as long as we have is literally just, we love each other. And we almost didn't make it. We almost broke up in 2016 or 17 and took a 2-year hiatus basically. And that, that was certainly illuminating, stepping away from it and learning what it felt like to not have that. And I think all of us agreed that it was better together than apart.
I love that answer because love is like the first thing, and certainly like that's a huge theme of Is.
Big
right?
Time.
And really, I mean, if we were to get into the nitty gritty, like that's an ongoing theme throughout pretty much most of everything you do, and not just like albums, but like how you are like out in the world as people, as individuals, and as a group. There's a lot of sort of, agreement, it seems, about like what's important and what isn't. from the outside anyway. Like it always
Very much.
seems like there's a consensus of like, this is how we're going to go forward. This is what we want to put out in the world. This is what, where we want to go to. But, I think it also really speaks to each of you in the way that you had that time apart and, were able to then assess how meaningful it was to you and know that you're going to come back into it and work through whatever it was that had you all decide to part ways in the first place. And that's like a double commitment.
That is a double commitment. You're right. It's almost like renewing your vows or something like that. I've never thought of it that way before, but I think we had a vow renewal in 2019.
I think that's the next video, and you can just take that. You don't have to add that to your check.
That's right. Thanks. That one's for
You're
free.
welcome. Okay, so I'm going to pull a card for us and just see what wants to
Great.
come up. So this is a universal card for everybody, and it's just themes to focus on, and we're doing upright only. So what wants to come through? Two of Wands. So head on over to the YouTube channel, and you should anyway, because it's fun to see people's faces, but also you can always get a better look at the card. Two of Wands is about kind of having it all and looking beyond that, and knowing that the world that you've created might be, you might be ready to move past that, right? And expand and open up the world. And certainly that talks to what we were just talking about.
Big time.
It talks about touring. It talks about, but it also talks about so one of, a dear friend of mine, who is a coach and an author, and a very magical person, Jericho Mandibur, once said to me, it's your birthright to dream as big as you want.
I love that.
There's like, and when you notice yourself stopping yourself and saying, well, oh, that couldn't happen for me, or, oh, I don't know how that would ever happen, so it's never going to happen. Instead, what if you work through whatever those, little binding pieces are and allow them to fall away and allow yourself to really dream big? And I think also in times where things feel hopeless or impossible, what if we allowed ourselves to dream of what it could look like? Like, what does it take for that? And so we know that wands are in the realm of fire. We associate them with spirit and passion and growth. And I'm wondering if this is an opportunity for all of us to, if we're feeling a certain way about certain stuff, what if we allow ourselves to believe that there is a better world out there, and what might it look like? And the world that maybe we knew is smaller than we thought. And now we need to dream big. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. Oh my gosh. Like,
tell me.
My brain just went because I think some two-prong here. I think that the limitations that we put on our imagination and the worries come with age. Children do not feel that.
Yeah.
Children are just like, oh my God, the world is amazing, and holy crap, that's an insect and it looks so cool, and this color is beautiful, and this tastes bad. Blah, I don't want that. Like, it's just like this animalistic, beautiful, raw exploration of life that gets tamped down over time with some good lessons. Like, there are some great, like, governors that are put into our lives to keep us from stepping into a burning bush, or like not being able to swim. Those are terrible examples, by the way. But
those are deadly examples.
I know, but my point is that I think in order to embrace what's going on around you in everyday life, you really have to nurture your inner child first. And I try to do that in so many ways. Obviously, I have to adult, 98% of the day. But that doesn't take away from little Patrick, like that kid that's still like amazed by so many things and hopeful of so many things, and can see like the good in many aspects of life. And like that hope comes from my inner child. And I think here's the second prong of that is like, okay, you focus on nurturing your inner child so that you can have that wonder, and then you can apply that wonder with your adult mind to expand your consciousness and see beyond the obvious things in front of you. Like the world that you think is around you is so much more expansive. You're just looking at it through the confines of what you know. And that's why education and travel and human interaction are so important and elemental in the human condition, that we learn that our viewpoint is but one little portal in a giant array of consciousness. And so when I see that tarot card, like that's immediately what I'm like, my brain just went, okay, you got to nurture your inner child, and then you got to take that energy and apply it to everything that you've learned as an adult. And together, adult Patrick and little Patrick, and adult Megan and little Megan work together to this, like, you know, hopefully like progressive consciousness that you get better at as you get older. Does that make any sense?
100%. 100%.
I feel like I just talked for like 90 minutes, but
no, it was.
That's what I took from that card.
Yeah, I love it. And that's what I love about tarot cards, is that they are, you know, first of all, they're obviously part of a structure, and there's lots of symbolism. And there's actually Jennifer Fawcett, our friend, gave me my first deck like when I was 23. But so I love that there's like symbols and structures and archetypes, but I also love that they are like keys that unlock your imagination and can also like help you tell a story and see things beyond. Because sometimes when we put too much focus on a specific thing, like just in the moment, it's hard to see it. But if we use another tool to unlock or join up to like co-create creativity or imagination or beyond. If you're a music maker who's been wanting to create some magic, consider working with my good friend and often co-conspirator, Jim Bryson, at his Fixed Hinge studio in Stittsville, Ontario, because he's running a special for folks who want to come and record a song this summer. Jim is a beloved Canadian songwriter and musician and has toured with other beloved Canadians like Kathleen Edwards, Sarah Harmer, and the Tragically Hip. But let me speak from experience, having worked on my last 3 musical projects with him, that Jim Bryson is the camp counselor to your recording. And not only that, he's got the best SG around. You can find out more about the studio and the gear at jimbryson.org, but get that recording request in soon, because you know that summer flies by fast. And don't forget to tell him that I sent ya. And I also think, and this speaks to something you said earlier about the band's dynamic, it sounds to me like you all have, and you know, from the various times I've seen this in action, I believe it to be true. Everybody has like emotional integrity and flexibility. Not all the time, obviously, but there's an awareness of like, this is a unit and we protect the unit. And there's like, I can't just fucking lose my shit right now. Or if I do, somebody else is going to get it and not just like come back at me. And I don't know if that happens. Sometimes I'm sure it does.
No, I can honestly say there has never been, I won't say never, like right before we went into the hiatus, I mean, it was never like heated, but there were definitely arguments, and also to like clear the hurdle, there were arguments, like Jim and I had to get right. He'd be the first one to say it too. Like we both were, you know, at odds. He was really battling some mental demons, and I was, you know, battling some alcoholism, and so was he. So gosh, two of those things together, that's super fun. And
and like however long you guys have been friends, he said grade 3.
Oh yeah, I mean, just
I don't have friends from grade 3.
It's I mean, most people don't.
I know.
But you're right. It's a level of respect. I mean, just like a marriage, you don't cross certain lines that you can't take back. You don't go there with people that you love. My band is still together because we don't cross that line. Because no matter how mad we get, we don't bring that energy to it. We channel it in other ways, calm down, and then talk about it like mature adults. Right. That's what we owe each other.
Yeah. And that's it. But you're all on board with that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. It wouldn't work. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't the case.
Exactly. And I think that emotional flexibility and the commitment to, growing together, doing better. When you make a mistake, you own it and then 100%. Make a change. But that also speaks to what you were talking about with the world and the Two of Wands, which is it's the decision of knowing everything that we know, having been hurt the ways that we've been hurt. And I mean this like globally, not just necessarily in a band, and deciding to still be curious, to still remain hopeful. Like I always say that hopefulness as an adult is a choice because you know what's out there in all the ways, right? So the bad certainly, but also the good. And so it's not like bypassing, it's not ignoring, it's not pretending like everything's okay or, love and lighting everything. Instead, it's right.
I'm laughing so hard at that just because that little passage started as such a sweet thing, and I know exactly. Well, love and light, and now it's almost like a leftist thoughts and prayers or something, like I'm just kind of like. But
how about live, laugh, love?
There we go. Yeah, we'll there we go.
Instead. I wonder if you can talk to us about a time when you were all playing together, when you experienced something like profound or had a feeling of synergy. And I'm betting that there's multiple, but I'm going to let you choose whichever one just like comes to you.
The moment when we felt synergy.
Yeah, or like you kind of had a profound experience together on stage or in the studio.
Well, it's...
Or is that every time?
Well, it's not every time. It does happen. Luckily, it happens a lot. That's why I'm kind of like, God, what do I talk about? Because I really do, like, we have a lot of those moments together where we're just like, wow, that was really wonderful. I'm so glad to be in this room with you all right now. But
I love that I know that like you actually say those things to each other.
Oh, we do. Totally. We absolutely do. I will say that with this particular lineup, and it's really cool. So last year was the 20th anniversary of the 2004 Bonnaroo performance that we did where it rained and all that.
My brother was at that one.
And that was, we got to like go back and we made a little short documentary on it. Bo helped produce that. But what that made us do was go back and kind of like talk about that time in the band. And really that was when Bo and Carl were becoming part of the band for the first time. They were still hired guns. I mean, they were more than that, but they weren't like official band members yet. They had just joined. That was their first tour. Wow. And that was like the first, I think that was the first one after the audition. When we auditioned with them and they sat in, those were like really, they were separate though. We didn't audition them together. Those were like moments where we're like, whoa, like this is, you're feeling something, like when you meet somebody for the first time, you're like, we're going to be friends for the rest of our lives. That's how that felt. But what you're asking me, maybe the biggest profound moment of this lineup that's been the lineup for 2 decades now, our first one was really at that Bonnaroo, because it was pouring down rain. It was in the middle of a thunderstorm. In this day and age, that would have never, like, we would have been yanked off that stage in 5
Safety.
seconds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was like
I mean, for good reason.
I look at Jim
You could
barefoot
die.
on that wet stage,
I know. I saw footage of
just
that
walking
recently.
across wires, and I'm like, I kind of want to get back to that danger a little. Like there wasn't a cell phone out there. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he didn't die, obviously, but it's more like the reckless, or just like people weren't overthinking things; they were just kind of doing it, and maybe there's some ignorance to that, but whatever. My point is that we were in a situation where we were like, do we get off stage? And we just kind of all looked at each other and were like, fuck no, we don't get off stage. This is like, we take this and we turn it up even more, and that's when, that was a really profound moment with those two. That's when they became band members, because the three of us knew that we would go into the fire, and that would be the last, our last breath would be like finishing this moment, and they did too, and we were like, oh, okay,
all right,
this is going to happen, like this is real. And from that moment on, it's been profound moment after profound moment. I mean, they're the best.
Yeah. I got tingles thinking about that. And I mean, from the audience's perspective, same. Like they felt it, because I remember my brother just saying, like,
they were part of it.
I don't even, exactly. It was everyone together. It was its own thing. And maybe, a bit of divine intervention to make sure everybody stayed safe.
Yeah, exactly.
And like and that there's footage of it, because, I don't even know if I have a few photos of that, road trip that we took, but like, we didn't have cameras on our phones. We were kind of a bit more in the moment. I think that's what you're speaking to as well, which is just like, and also you're 20 years away from that. So you've got a bigger team. You've got more people who are like, there's insurance. There's a lot of stuff. Bonnaroo was like, what? 1 or 2, like
that was year 2.
Yeah, like that stuff. Once you get to a certain place, I mean, if you guys want to start playing, small startup festivals again, maybe you can have those dangerous experiences once more. But as you grow, okay, all right, I'm putting it together next year. You heard it here, everybody. Okay, so, and on this line, we know that music can be transformative. Certainly, like with your instrument alone, drumming has been a part of all kinds of different rituals and ways to summon different states of mind. I read something, or maybe Amy Miranda mentioned this, who was a previous podcast guest. The beats that they use in raves it's the same tempo that the drummers use in shamanistic, like journeying. Do you know what journeying is? It's when somebody like who's trained in this and has, all the proper protocol, plays a drum, and you go into like a deep, like transcendental experience.
Sure.
And it's the same, like, beats per minute.
Is it 120?
I guess so. Is that what the rave
I believe
was?
So, yeah.
Yeah, and there's something about like your heart rate and everything, and so like it literally puts you in a different experience. We think of protest songs, we think of music that has messages, and I remember when Evil Urges came out, that seemed to be a direct response to the political climate at the time, let's just say. Am I right on that?
I would say that was a part of it. Sure.
Okay. And
everything's always a part of it. You've written albums. It's like you're a product of your environment. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Okay. But would you say, and this is a complicated question, and you can take it in whatever direction you want, is music inherently spiritual?
I would have to say yes, because it's, it's the most, in my opinion, it's like the most natural form of human expression, or art for that matter. Maybe we don't single out music, but just artistic expression, in my opinion, is our reaction to a muse, and you can call it 1,000 names, but you're reacting to a muse that's bigger than you, and you're feeling things that you don't have words for, or you don't quite understand, and you're just trying to capture that feeling in the best way you can. And that's why lyrics are so important, but sometimes I don't even I'm more of like a mood person, and I definitely listen to the meanings of lyrics, but there are a lot of songs where the lyrics are silly, or don't really fit the mood, and it's more about like what people do when they're just blocking out their rational mind, and they're just kind of being human and just feeling and being stewards to something much greater than them. So in that sense, I mean, I think artistic expression is like the most spiritual thing. Yeah.
Pam Grossman, who is a recent guest on the podcast as well, she has a book coming out. She's her podcast is called The Witch Wave, and she's incredible, and she's talking about creativity in terms of spirituality and her experience as a witch and all of that. And the general consensus is creativity, art, magic, expression, like it's all like a co-creation between your particular entity and, like consciousness, which you referenced earlier, or the spirit world, or like whatever the case. It's a bigger thing than just you, which also, my morning jacket feels like its own thing. Does that?
Thank you. I mean that, like a very deep thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have a choice.
Right.
We're given.
Did you just say we don't have a choice?
Yeah,
right.
We don't have a choice in this. That's what it sounds like when it comes out of our circuitry. That's what, like, we're all walking around the same energy. We're all walking around the we're all capable of harnessing whatever this stuff is that's around us. And I don't know what to call it. Some people call it God. Some people call it like the universe. Some people call it whatever. It's just, we're all walking around and we all have the same stuff around us. And it's all like how that sounds or feels or tastes or like it's all because of our abilities to process that, whatever that is. And I find that fascinating. Like, that to me just blows my mind every time I think about it. I call it like having your antenna up, because we're all walking through radio waves all the time. We could listen to a radio station right now if we wanted to, but we don't have our antenna up. You put that thing up and it sounds the way it does going through you. That's why it's so deeply spiritual, because it really is like you being in tune with your surroundings in a very how do I say it, logic defying way.
And it's being present in the moment, but also, which is another theme I find that comes up a bunch, and is like concepts of time. Like, what is time? What does it mean? What's before? What's after? Where do we begin? You know, and I love that it references earlier records. There's like, you know, there's that section of I'm really bad with song names, but like Golden gets referenced, At Dawn gets referenced, and I don't even know if that's on purpose. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure.
It's okay. I made a screenshot of it, and then I just like escaped my mind because, again, I like to be as present in the moment as possible. But
of course, I love
there's
it.
like beginning from the ending, like all of these. Actually, I think that's probably what the song is. There's so many references to time and timelines, and I find that very topical right now as well. You know, there's a lot of evidence that shows that there's multiple timelines, and not just like, you know, like you're like scientists, like astrophysicists have proven that there at least is the possibility of multiple timelines happening at once. So, right. And also that time doesn't actually exist. And we know that, like, we made it up, and that's okay. But then if it isn't what we think it is, what is it? And is it those moments that we have? And this is why concerts, I think, and like live moment, artistic expression with groups of people are so important, because you're all working with each other's energy, but you're also feeding from the energy of the people who are listening, and we are also receiving. So it's this like synergistic, like working together as its own thing, which is, I think is what you were talking about a couple of minutes ago. And like, if you think about it in the moment, it's going to wreck it.
Yes.
You kind of just have to be like, that part of your brain's coming and going, wow, this is, and you're like, shut up. No, like, just be present. And I can tell you, as somebody who has been at concerts of your band for over 20 years, I remember very, very specific moments and details of the first time I watched you all play, which was when I was just getting to know the band, and it was at the Exit Inn in Nashville. And like,
wow,
I think you had to leave because I think Patrick had a little bit too much to drink the night before.
No,
and
maybe
you had to go
sick.
In the back, and you were sick. Oh.
I got sick.
There I am blaming you for being wasted. You're like, no, I had food poisoning.
No, I had a bad meal. Yeah, I got food poisoning. I made it through the
Maybe
whole
I do know that. I
regular
forgot.
set.
You
and
did,
then I didn't,
and it was intense.
I didn't make the encore, so Jim did an acoustic encore.
You were barfing.
Yes.
And
behind the exit in. I forgot all about that
commitment. But I can tell you that, like, I remember watching everything happen and just being like I don't think I'd ever felt that way at a concert before. And I play music. I've been in bands. I've dated people in bands for a long time. Like, I've been to a lot of shows, and I was just like, I don't know what's happening right now, but this is really awesome. Yeah. And ever since then, I don't think there's ever been a time where I've seen a show and I've been like, that was okay. Like, not really their best work. And I don't know how many times I've seen you, but like, it's got to be a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so, like, what is it? And I think that happens with lots of bands, and certainly certain music speaks to certain people's rhythms and like life experiences, and who knows why you like what you like and whatever. But when you can have that kind of like awe and like joy and reverence at something that everybody else is feeling, like, there's not a lot that's better than that.
You're right. I mean, well, first of all, I'm shaking my head because I'm like, you're blowing my mind with these memories in this discussion. Like
I got a good memory.
No, and also you're just, thank you for the sweet words. It's really like, we don't think about the effect. We're just being, I don't know.
I'll write a novel for you.
It's just really kind. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But on the topic of the importance of concerts and restaurants and festivals and like, I don't know, Ren fairs and like comic book conventions and like
Stuff
all this
that you
stuff,
love.
like people getting together to celebrate their interests and humanity is so important now more than ever, because we are so divided and we are so screen oriented as a whole that getting that stuff out of the way and just being people is so important. Feeling what it feels like to be human and not what an algorithm is telling you to feel, and not a doctored up picture of someone. Like, warts and all, here we are. And that is just, people walk away from those experiences better, and they go out and they take that energy else. It's contagious. And like that, to me, that aspect of it has become as equal, as important as the music itself. I love the making of the music. I love recreating stuff around that song every night so that it doesn't happen the same way every time. I love all of that, but I also really love the dance with the audience, and I really love hearing about the relationships that form from being from coming to our shows for years. Like, that to me is, I mean, I could cry talking about it. It's just, it blows my mind that people meet and fall in love at our shows, or that are friends for 20 years now coming to, like, that kind of stuff. And like the good festivals, like when, and I don't mean to disparage any festival, but like those first few years of Bonnaroo were so special because they were just what you were talking about earlier, just dreaming. And just like, it didn't matter what the spreadsheet looked like. They were like losing money, but God, it was the best festival. And we just lost, I want to give a shout out real fast to Jonathan Mayers, just passed away a couple of days ago. He was a co-founder of Bonnaroo, and his imagination and playfulness and just overall joy for life was a giant part of that festival and many others. And he kind of like set the tone for what it means in the 2000s for people to get together like what we're talking about and celebrate humanity. And you know, we all learned a lot from him, so I wanted to give a shout out to him and like wish his spirit well on the next quest there. But yeah, I agree with you. It's so important to go to shows, to go to art openings, to go just be with people, go to a park, organize a picnic or a friend group, or, you know, like reach out to people. That don't text them, call them. Like, that human interaction is just so incredibly important, more now than ever. I mean, it's we have to be reminded that we're all not that damn bad. You want the same things. You get your feelings hurt when somebody says something bad about you. You feel great when somebody pays you a compliment. Like, all of these things are across the board wherever you are, no matter what country, no matter, it just doesn't matter. It's human, and we just have to be reminded of that. And just to round it, like, you just nailed it. Like, going to concerts, getting in those moments, sharing those experiences, band and crowd together. as one is one of the greatest feelings ever. And I can't believe we all still get to do this. It's just, what a blessing. Yeah.
Like, it's kind of the dream, but, right? It's the dream for most musicians when you're starting out. Like, that's the dream. And also acknowledging two things. One, I think you all work really hard for it to work. Right?
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
And not every band has the same inner dynamic. And of course, no band has the same inner dynamic. But like, you know, I think there's a commitment, especially to the long-term bands, that you can just tell there's emotional growth that has happened for being together. Because otherwise, as you said, like, you can't, it's not going to work. Like, people are just going to freak out on each other, or like addictions are going to take over, or XYZ, like all kinds of stuff. And I absolutely agree with you. And I think part of that humanity is also recognizing, as we evolve, where we are all the same. And it's our, I feel, obligation to make sure that everybody has the same possibilities available to them. Right. And so, like,
100%.
You know, what can we sacrifice in terms of our like comfort and our, you know, our regular lives, in order to make sure that we all together get to have safety and love and, you know, food and all of the stuff that is needed, and that not that there are certain people, when we talk about like the wonderful magic of things, it's also important to recognize, like, yes, there's also like oppression, and there's also like terrible shit. And if we care about the one, we got to care about the other.
That is the absolute truth. There is
and
no,
that's humanity.
There's no light without darkness, and vice versa, you know, and yeah, I mean, we're just better together. I agree with you. I feel like society benefits when we all succeed. And I really feel like, I mean, I try to do this in every project I take on. Like, the goal is for everybody to walk away a winner. And it's really not that hard.
I know.
If you can just like pluck the greed out of the thing. I mean, it's such an innate human like survival tactic where you're just like, I've got to take care of, like, I've got to survive. But at a certain point, how much do you really need? Go on vacation,
Yes.
Live on the road out of a suitcase for a month. You'll find out real fast how much you actually need. I look at this house and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I need to get rid of everything, because I can survive off of a couple pairs of pants, 5 shirts, you know, like,
Yeah.
and
Our kids won't like
give
that, though.
2 people. No,
They're like,
that's
no.
Yeah, I'm in a quiet
No, thanks,
home right now.
Dad.
Yeah, totally. That's so funny. But I guess my point is that I don't need all this. You know, like, I wish there was a way to communicate to all the powers that be, and not just in America, but like in this increasing movement, that, like, you know, like, we're just better together. It's better for the whole thing if everybody walks away a winner. And that may have different, being a winner looks different to different people, but oppression is so backwards, and is the work of greed and cowardice, in my opinion. You know, no one with confidence is like true confidence, not this bravado.
100%.
No one walking around with true confidence and true love for themselves is going to walk around keeping somebody else down. True leadership is side by side, or from behind.
Yes. And we know that power corrupts the brain,
Oh yeah.
like neurologically. And so, my big question for myself lately is, what do we do about that? Because you can't logic and reason with somebody. I don't even know if folks at a certain point are capable of love anymore. And so like what's the way to navigate the folks who have a whole lot of power? And I know, we don't have to get too, we could stay in the ether on this, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Like, what's the way forward? And I think part of it is just, as you say, better together, strength in numbers. People are starting to see what happens when we go, fuck no, thank you. And come together and be like, okay, take us all. Or to stop things. And this has been happening globally for what feels like a couple of years as a direct response to certain trends that were happening. And I feel very hopeful that the more we all realize how, as you say, better together we are, and also like how much power we have if we can talk to each other and all agree at least this is bad, let's come together to stop this. And I think that art is really helpful. And I don't mean this in a art's so lovely and I'm artistic. I mean it like it's a fucking message. And you and I talked about this before we got on the record button, but you just finished your first round of 3 legs of touring for Is, and I know we're getting really close, but I want to ask a couple questions about Is for sure.
Oh, please.
And I saw a video. What do we call that stuff now? Like an electronic.
It's still video. I still pick up my phone. I'm like, I'm going to videotape that. And I still haven't figured out where to put the tape in this thing. I don't know.
And the kids are like, what's a video
What's
tape?
Grandpa talking about over there? I know.
Oh my God. Are you 50 yet? No.
No, I'm 47.
Okay. It's coming. I'm 51 now. And I'm like, oh, all right. Here. This is interesting. But there's footage of you standing and talking to the crowd and basically saying we're coming together in the name of love.
Yeah.
To love and to be loved together in this moment.
That's right.
And that is such a powerful thing because you had the stage to be able to send that message out into the world.
Yeah, that's an opening. You're referring to the opening toast that I do at our festival, One Big Holiday. Right. I just like to set that precedent right then and there. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes.
The whole idea is just look, we're all in here now, and we're just going to focus inward for a little while. The stuff didn't go away in your normal lives, but we're leaving all that on the outside of that fence line right there. All that is out, and all we're going to focus on in here is each other. We're going to focus on ourselves too. We're going to try and heal this in here, because until you work on this and get this right, none of this is right. So it's a moment. I just like to take that moment to I don't know, give people permission to just let loose and be vulnerable and put down their guards for a second and make a new friend and help a sister out and really just celebrate humanity for a second. And that's all I mean, I don't say those exact words, but it's my toast every year. I don't drink anymore. So I do a little heart cheers. And it's, it's just like a little moment for everybody to just, it's before any of the music happens. And it's just this is the vibe. This is why we're all here to do this. It's of course about the music, but it's about so much more. And the more you put into this, the more you're going to get out of it, and just leave all that other crap out there for now, because honestly, if you leave it out there and come in here and work and take a break for a second, you're going to know how to deal with all that stuff better when you get out there.
That's it. Remembering that we do like each other, that we do like to hang out together.
Yes.
That we do like, okay, I don't agree with you on this, but oh my God, wasn't that amazing?
Yes.
And then we can talk about it. We see each other as people again, instead of just like one side or the other side. It's kind of like the pulling of the tarot card at the beginning. It sets a tone, right? It brings people together for a moment. Yeah.
It's such a good idea to do that at the top of the podcast too.
The podcast?
Because otherwise I would have just been sitting here like, I don't have anything to talk about.
Don't worry. I have like so many questions, but we're not going to get through them all today, and that's okay. You guys should have a tarot reader at One Big Holiday.
I think you just got a job.
You know I would do it in a literal heartbeat.
I love it.
Okay. So I just want to talk about, because this was so, okay. You're just going to have to like, let me do this for a minute, because I need to do it. And it's giving y'all praise again. So you get, I don't know that, yeah. My life has been changed from my mingling with my morning jacket, which I think is what art is supposed to do, right? And so when the first like Time Waited came out, and I was just like, oh, like the piano came on. I was like, this is really lovely. And then at some point, like the Is record, like image came out, and I was like, am I seeing this right? We're all seeing this, right? Like, and then there's like the song title started coming. It's like Everyday Magic. And I'm like, I think I'm right about this. And then I don't know what it was. Is it like some kind of sporting event that you all were like at? There's like some video. It was on Instagram. There's like a purple silky cape or something with like a big My Morning Jacket logo.
Oh, that was
with an
our soccer
eye in the
team.
middle of it or something.
Yeah, I helped make we did a merch color. I do all the merch and poster.
You do?
Or like, I don't make it, but Tom has just now started helping me out with it. But for the last like decade, I've been, that's my world, is like the whole design part. So I did a merch collaboration with our Louisville professional men's and women's soccer teams. So that's what that was. You saw that was the sporting event.
But I saw that and I was like, that's a fucking magic thing. This is magic. This album is a magic album. And so it's not unusual for your band to talk about like spiritual things, or like talking, like I think early days there's like Jesus talk, and then there's like lots of talk of God and like grappling with sort of themes and all of that. But this one feels specifically like we're fucking going all in on the theme this time. Would I be correct on that?
I don't
like this know. It's a seance. Like
that was so funny. You were like, for those of you listening or watching, like Megan reached out to me over Instagram, and she's just like, what's up with this picture? And I forget what I sent back. It was like a game of like slap hands or something like that. Like that's what we were recreating. So I'm hesitant to answer that, because I don't, part of the beauty of this is that everybody takes away what they take away from it. Mm-hmm. And we are a deeply spiritual band, but in no like defined, organized kind of way. Just very in touch with our inner selves and with the surroundings around us, and just trying to be good people. That's the main goal. And yeah, there was a lot of God talk in the earlier parts of I mean, Jim and I, we both met at Catholic, like we met at a vacation Bible school, like thing for our Catholic grade school. Like we're recovering Catholics. We're like, that's that did not work for me. It works for other people, and that's great. But yeah, I think a lot of the early stuff is him still, like we're all still working through, like what is God? What does it look like? What does that feel like? What are people doing? Like what, like is that doesn't feel right? It's just it's I would say our band is a constant spiritual exploration of trying to figure out what it means to be human. And Jim is the lyricist, so you're hearing it from his lens, or through his lens. But we're all kind of on the same journey in terms of just trying to figure it all out, and not really like live in the confines of one way of thought. Most people are just kind of like walking around, and they don't need, the smartest person in the room is not going to let you know that they're smart. That's just it. And I'm trying to tie this back to what I was saying.
You're really walking away from the seance, which I know is actually what it is. And that's fine. Did you know that Abraham Lincoln used to have seances?
Did he really?
Uh-huh. Yeah. He was a spiritualist.
Oh, that's super cool.
I know.
I've never been a part of a seance.
I think you were. I don't know why you're not telling us the truth right now. Actually, you know what? In terms of like that
photo shoot seances.
Right. What I also love about that image specifically is because it's an animated GIF, like it's an animated picture, right? So if you go to wherever you listen to your music, I still listen to CDs, FYI. But if you go to where you listen to music, I also listen to Apple Music. That's my one. But if you click on the picture, it's animated, and so there's like something happening, which is, I think, and I might be wrong on this, it looks like a wave, like a waveform, like that's passing through everyone's hands, which ties it all together in terms of the interconnectedness of not just you as individual people, but you as a band. And then even greater than that, you as the people who are exposed to your music, whether it's listening or whether it's like in concert. And it is that interconnectedness, that being together, that really creates the hopefulness of moving forward, of being able to see our humanity, of sharing the connections in all of the different ways that we can, of, going back to what you were talking about, like nerding out, the thing I call it is nerding out on your shit. Like, what are you interested in? And you go to a comic convention, or you go to like cooking classes, or you make cooking classes. Cause I think I remember at some point you were doing cooking. Yeah.
I did. Yeah. I'm still working on that stuff. It's so much fun.
So much fun. And you're really good at it. Like, it's fun to watch you, cause you're good at it as a host and as a creator. So, okay. Thinking of all of this, and because we're using this podcast as ways of looking at different types of modalities of spirituality, and like taking from it what works for you in order to stay hopeful, what would you say, and this is where we'll close out, what would you say is a way that we can interact with music purposefully to stay hopeful so that we can keep doing good things in the world? Is that even a question? How about this? How can music help us stay hopeful?
Well, no, I was thinking about it from a making of music standpoint and a listener of music standpoint. I mean, honestly, I think it's a pretty simple answer because it just, I'm trying to figure out how to, I'm saying it's a simple answer, but I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I feel like you just have to remember that it's a human being making, if you can put into context that whether you're making the music or listening to it, that you are walking this earth with your circuitry and your makeup, and you are receiving this information, and what you do with that is up to you. And if you are walking this earth with hope in your heart, and you're reminded that, hey, there is a chance, because there's always a chance. I'm sorry, I never think in absolutes when it comes to that kind of stuff. There's no way that there's all dark or there's all light. Like there's tidal waves of both all the time, and it's not 50-50, and it's insane. I feel that music can keep you hopeful because it reminds you of your humanity and the humanity of the people around you. And I just really feel that it all goes back to reminding ourselves that we are just people we all have the same wants and needs, and we're all just trying to do our best. And the people that aren't doing their best, hopefully you can say something or model something just by being positive and being proactive and living a life of love and empathy and goodness, that hopefully music plays a part in that. Hopefully art in general plays a part in that, to remind you of your humanity and to communicate that to others, that we're all here for the same reason. And that's to love and to make this place better. Leave it better than we found it. We're failing at that miserably, but I still have hope for that. And I can't control what everybody else does, but I do my part in every little moment of my day. And that's all I could, I would hope that music plays a part in reminding people of their humanity, because if they have that one moment, then doing something good with their day, their hour, their minute is surmountable and isn't overwhelming and may lead to many other beautiful things.
I would say that's a pretty good answer.
It was a very long answer.
I really liked it. Patrick, I thank you so much for this conversation and for joining me today, and for the excellent music and the incredible drum fills and the general goodness in your heart that is always such a pleasure to be around. And I sincerely appreciate the wholeness of you, and especially you being here today.
Well, thank you so much. And the feeling is most certainly mutual.
This is where I do the extra, okay?
Okay.
You can find all the information and takeaways from today's episode in the show notes or at embracingenchantment.com. Subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd love for you to leave a review. You can also leave a voice note at embracingenchantment.com, and we might feature it in a future episode. You can find out more about Patrick and My Morning Jacket and where to follow them in the show notes. I highly recommend getting listening to it start to back. And if you want to be like me, you can take your dog for a walk and do it in a field and just experience the magic from start to finish, which is the way I love to listen to a record. You're going to want to make sure you're subscribed, because we have some exciting episodes coming up about whether evil spirits exist and how to work through an evangelical past, and the magic of books. You can catch up on previous episodes where we talk with Pam Grossman, Colin Bedell, Cult Mother, about tarot, magic as activism, the question of whether magic is real, and so much more. Until then, here's to building an enchanted life.